All right. We are now live on the internet. Brian Matthews.
Oh, great. Hello, Internet people.
How are you today?
Am I all right?
Staying strong?
I am. I'm excited about this new offensive lineman. I mean, JB getting it done on the trail. How about that?
Yeah, well, this kid's definitely a project, I would say. Yay or
Well,
nay?
it's good to have a 6'7", 300 and something pound project, though. That's a good thing.
I think he played basketball in high school. I think he was pretty good. Um, so he's probably split decision, redshirted his first year up there at Coffeyville to kind of get used to football, and then now he's a football player.
Well, and if you watch his film, you can see he's not afraid to mix it up and be a physical player, which is great. Sometimes you get these big old dudes and they just don't want to mix it up, but you can see he does, and that's good. But
He's pretty physical.
I just, we'll talk about this more, but this is a big pickup.
He's pretty physical. Maybe we like physical. Hashtag physical 2020. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about Jonathan Buskey, the
Yeah.
aforementioned. We'll also talk about hashtag GusBus2020.
Mm.
That's an odd one. We'll talk about Case Howell, the Tigers' new freshman outfielder. We'll also talk about Tim Horton possibly going to Vandy. We think he's going to Vandy. That has not been confirmed yet, but that's the word. And we'll also talk about the upcoming basketball game, the tilt between Auburn and the hated Rebels from Old Mississippi. A game that Auburn needs, Brian Matthews.
They do. And this could be the start of a nice little run for Auburn coming up. So,
Oh, there's no
um,
doubt. It's a big run.
but this is a great opportunity for Auburn tonight.
And Luke, our man Luke, did it in the best way.
Oh yeah, well we'll save that for the end of our show. But yeah, wow, something else.
He was, yeah. I think he had the right intentions, but shit got a little turned on him there. And also, for those of you watching the stream, if you guys were there last night, we had a member post pictures of his wife's boobs before and after surgery. And things got a little rambunctious, as you would probably guess. And we had to get involved a little bit. So I am sure that there is somebody watching this stream right now who has possession of those pictures. And I'm not even hating. Whatever you got to do. But we got to try to keep those off the board, man. For once in my life, I actually agree with Gern Blanston on something.
The bunker can be tough to control sometimes. So
It can be.
we'll endeavor to do our best.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do our best. All right, let me get this thing fired up, sir. Also, hello to our bunker streamers. You guys are the best. The ones I'm talking to, you guys know who you are. Y'all doing work. And I also got my USA soccer, oops, wrong one. USA soccer jersey on today. Brian looks like he's got his Sugar Bowl.
Sugar Bowl.
Sugar Bowl?
Yeah, your Man U team did not fare
No.
as well as you'd like them to fare in the Champions League.
No, they didn't.
Not their best effort.
No, not their best effort. They had been playing so well up to that point.
They have.
And then they got curb stomped yesterday. And Pogba's got a red card, so he's out. So
Yeah. Well, PSG's got some of the best players in the world. So Mbappe, that kid's pretty good.
he's pretty good. He's pretty good. I like him pretty well. Hi-yo! Hello again, and welcome to the AuburnSports.com rundown presented by Voodoo Wing Company. It's your favorite podcast. This one right here, this very show is your favorite podcast for all things Auburn. And maybe a few other SEC schools when they're in need of gentle disparagement, like those UK Wildcats. Had a chance to beat LSU on their home floor, and guess what happened? Not that.
Yeah. I mean, you just can't let a guy come in there and tip it in like that. I
No,
mean,
you can't.
you got to block out. You're at home.
You got to block out, as my 8th grade basketball coach, Joe Lowry, rest in peace, told me. You got to use that ass of yours, son, and box them out.
Yeah. Of course, Coach Cal said they need to change the rules of what they can review, so I'm sure that'll be changed this week. SEC office is hard to work on that.
If only he coached at Alabama, they would be able to get that done in quickly, in post-haste.
Yeah.
That was goaltending, by the way, but they don't review it. They don't
It was.
review offensive goaltending.
Sometimes those things happen.
Well, yeah. In Kentucky, I don't know I don't feel what it's like every now and then, because sometimes these calls go against the lower tier teams and not Kentucky. Wink, wink.
Sometimes, too, your players get fouled in the last few seconds of a game. They don't get called.
It happens.
Or a player gets pushed out of bounds, and it's called out of bounds to the other team, and it doesn't get called in the last few minutes of a game. So, these things happen.
You seem to have a very good memory of these things, Brian.
I mean, I don't know why those images are stuck in my mind. I just brought those up randomly.
Today is February 13th in the year of 2019. This is episode number 368 of this fine program. I think this is stream number 3 if you are on the internets today. And yeah, that's going to be a good thing. My name is Jay Tate. I am publisher of AuburnSports.com, and I'm joined as always by Mr. Bryan Matthews, capital B, capital M, a man who is anxiously awaiting the return of Game of Thrones. And everyone from Winterfell all the way down to where the Dothraki hang. Dorne. They know that you are a doer of many things. What up, B-Matt?
Speaking of Game of Thrones, I've been streaming it from start to finish.
Again,
yes.
Yes.
We're done with season 6, about to roll into season 7.
Wow, you're really making up ground quickly there, B-Matt.
Yep. And I got the whole family involved now, so they're all members of Westeros now. They're all part of the Stark family, except for my wife. She's a Targaryen.
She is a Targaryen. She has been all along. Is that because she really likes Khaleesi?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like her. I'm just a Stark.
Khaleesi's pretty cold-blooded, but she's also principled, I think. One man's opinion.
She can't be burned, so that's pretty cool.
Well,
I mean, that would be a great skill to have in the real world. Think about it.
Sure it would if you're a cook.
Yeah.
Cook with your hands.
Yeah. Firefighters.
She's the mother of dragons, breaker of chains, Bryan.
Right. She has dragons, and she rides one of them. That's also a good skill in the real world, if you had those things.
And she also hosts NBCSN's soccer coverage. Her name is Rebecca Lowe in real life.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Yes.
I do want to mention before we get going, before the show begins, that the rundown is presented by Voodoo Wing Company, a wonderful place to eat, run by wonderful Auburn people. And they do an awesome job. I do want to say today is Wednesday, which means it's going to be Wednesday wine night. $5 bottles of wine up there. And I'm sure that's a very high-quality type of wine because everything at Voodoo Wing Company is high quality.
Only the very best, straight from France.
Absolutely, straight from France, from Paris.
From France.
Paris, Texas.
Yes.
Seriously, though, when you go to Voodoo and you're drinking that wine, you can get those traditional wings. You get the boneless wings. I'm telling you, they are both really on point. I eat both of them somewhat often, and they are delicious. They're warm. They're crispy. The sauces are delicious. Bryan loves them. Bryan puts them in his mouth and just absolutely gobbles them up.
Actually, it feels like it's been a little while since we've been to Voodoo, so I'm kind of having a yearning for it.
It's been a week or maybe a little bit longer, but there's been some things going down. You never know. Life pulls you in different directions, Bryan.
That's right. Sure, I'm sure the gang will get back together here before we know it.
Oh, who knows? Who knows? Anyway, Voodoo Wing Company, man, if you go over there, seriously, the food's incredible. It's always warm, made to order. The counter staff's always super professional and efficient. The place is clean as can be. It's bright in there. They have huge TVs. Everything's great. I mean, I have nothing to complain about there ever. And then you can finish it off with the nanner pudding that Bryan likes so much or the key lime pie cups that I like so much. There's no downside. Check them out, Voodoo Wing Company on College Street, approximately 0.3 of a mile north of the interstate off of I-85 there on College Street, just a little bit north of where the Supper Club once stood. And I like to remind everyone that's where Jeffrey Lee was once thrown into a trash can, and he damn well deserved it. Moving on to today's items of interest, Bryan Matthews. We'll start off with the Tigers' latest football commit, another offensive lineman to satiate an angry bunker mob who is demanding that J.B. Grimes go out and get some great linemen if he can. Jonathan Buskey, a young man from Mobile, Alabama, used to play football and basketball at LaFleur High School. He is now in Coffeyville, Kansas at a community college there, and he has committed to Auburn. Bryan, your thoughts?
I watched this film this morning, actually, and my thoughts are that he's a really good-looking young prospect. I mean, really. I know he's not got a lot of experience playing tackle, but you can tell when you watch this film that he's not afraid to mix it up and play a little physical, which is something Auburn's got to have on its offensive line and something J.B. Grimes really has to have to be effective as a coach. And, you can't really there's not many 6'7", 330-pound guys out there that can move like him. So I think this is an excellent pickup at a position of very much need. And I think this coaching staff deserves some credit because we've certainly been less than We certainly have pointed out all the deficiencies they've had in recruiting over the past few years, and they're actually going out there and taking care of it right now.
As best they can, sure. I do like their guard, Avery Jernigan, young man from Georgia that they got committed, I think, a week ago or maybe 2 weeks now, who really showed out at the MVP camp over there in Valdosta the other day. This young man, Jonathan Buskey, is definitely a project. He's a guy who was a very good basketball player in high school, and I think he was kind of stuck on what he wanted to do. So he ended up going to Coffeyville. He redshirted his first year to kind of, get caught up on some technique stuff and get ready, and then he played last year. He'll play this year. And that means when he goes to Auburn in 2020, he will have 2 years to play too. A little bit of a project, though, so they'll be keeping a very close eye on him at Coffeyville this year. They really need to see some steps forward in terms of technique and being able to play the whole game and be reliable the whole game. But as you mentioned, Brian Matthews, at 6'7", 330 right now, you don't find a lot of guys that size.
And also, he is a December graduate. Will be enrolling next January, or maybe even before then for bowl practice. So that's another big plus. You get him in and get him through winter workouts and spring practice, summer workouts. That's a big step ahead for a JUCO guy coming in.
No doubt. And he can start playing Madden against all the guys and get real good at that. It's important, guys. It helps in the locker room.
And if Auburn doesn't sign its full 25 in this class, take some more transfers, they can count back. So his scholarship could actually count toward 2019. So, again, this is exactly what Auburn needs to do. They're going to need to go out and get a transfer or two during this offseason. They're going to have to continue to sign a really big offensive line class. But, we're just a few weeks or basically a week or so past the signing day, and they've taken some big steps forward in this 220 class already.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a project. We'll see. I did note that when Gus Malzahn gave his traditional boom after that commitment, he put hashtag GusBus2020, which I think some eagle-eyed Auburn fans, including Against the Spread, who noticed this right away, is a strange hashtag considering the 2019 season hasn't been played out yet, hasn't begun yet. They haven't even really started planning for it yet. Why? Obviously, it's a recruiting hashtag, Brian Matthews, but kind of a weird one, right? No? Yes?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they probably had 5 or 6 they went through, and this is the one they've chosen for now. But, get on the Gus Bus 2020.
Gus Bus.
That's 2020,
yeah. All these other schools that have ones that are like, savage, we're going to kill you, whatever, and it's Gus Bus. I think that's pretty clever. My name's Gus. Anyway, I think they could do better on the hashtag front. Also, you have a story on the front page of AuburnSports.com with baseball season approaching. A story on Kason Howell, a young man from Argyle, Texas. If you guys haven't been out to Texas, that's in the triangle between Dallas, Fort Worth, and Denton, Texas.
Didn't I know?
And we're breaking up a little bit, but that's okay. And he is going to be playing, Brian Matthews, we believe, center field for the Auburn Tigers and batting low in the order. Still, you think he could be an asset. What do you see in there with him?
Yeah, true freshman. Came in and won that job in center field pretty much outright and has been there since the fall. Very speedy. Is going to really cover a lot of ground from gap to gap. And he's also 6'1", 185-ish or so, 190. So he's a guy that's going to put on some weight and be a bigger, more powerful guy as he gets into his college career. Probably more of a gap-to-gap type hitter, doubles guy right now, who's going to steal some bases and go first to third a lot, do things like that. But I think he's going to be a really talented, young, exciting player for Auburn, probably bat near the bottom of the order. And he's one of 2 true freshmen I expect to start opening day. Ryan Bliss will probably be the starter at second base. A smaller guy, Ryan, with a ton of bat speed and can still hit for some pop. And he'll be an exciting young freshman, too, to watch.
No doubt. Howell reminds me of a young Malin Kent, if you want to know my opinion. Not the quarterback from the 70s, but the outfielder from the 90s. Well, late 90s.
He's one of the best center fielders I've seen in Auburn, so that would be a great comparison if it works out that way.
You talking about Malin?
Yes.
Yeah, later in his career.
Terrific
Definitely defensive-minded, covered a lot of ground out there, sure glove. Not a great hitter early in his career, but became a really good spray hitter and an on-base guy and was a great leadoff hitter for those Hal Baird's final teams at Auburn.
Yeah, really, really good. Yep.
Yeah, and he was from Mountain Brook, I believe.
That's right.
Just saying. Mountain Brook, Argyle, Texas. They're basically neighbors. It's all the same. Malin Kent wore 15, too, I think. Again, not senior, junior. Other things of note. Now, I did a podcast yesterday with our friend Chris Lee at VandySports.com. We love Chris Lee. Quality individual. Bryan loves him like a brother. And the point of the conversation was that they had heard from all of their sources there at Vanderbilt that Tim Horton had taken the RB coach job over there at Vanderbilt. Now, this has not been announced formally yet, but we believe that's going to happen. Bryan, your thoughts on Tim Horton, one of our favorite guys, landing on his feet over there at Vanderbilt?
Well, good for him. And, he deserves that. I think he's a terrific coach. And he's also a good recruiter still. I think his hands were tied at times by the head coach.
Oh, really?
In recruiting. And I think that's part of the problem. I think just overall, even with offensive line, when you're told when to offer somebody and who to offer, you're not really making your own evaluations, your own recruiting decisions. So I think hopefully Tim will have some more autonomy up there and hopefully have a successful end to his college coaching career. I think you're not going to find a better person and a better coach than Tim Horton, and I think he'll do a terrific job.
Yeah, so they asked me on the show, Chris asked me on the show. He was actually taking questions from his subscribers, so when I say they, I guess that's what I meant. But they were like, why was he let go at Auburn? And I started thinking about this a little more deeply. It's got to be Asa. Because Tim has always been a trusted lieutenant. Tim is a good recruiter. I wouldn't call him their best, but he's a good one. I think he's a good evaluator of talent. I think he motivated those tailbacks. I mean, the guys that he gets a lot out of him. So there really wasn't a minus outside of the fact that Asa, we know that was kind of fumbled and messed up. Do you think that was the lion's share of it, B-Matt?
Maybe Gus was just ready to make a move, Some guys, they get into positions and they get in sort of a rut, and maybe Gus was ready to make a move, or Gus wanted to get some more youth in there at that position, or Gus wanted to shake up his offensive staff. I think there could be a number of different reasons for it. But I think, the situation with Asa certainly was a black eye for Auburn overall. I wouldn't want to point in any particular direction.
Yeah, the bunker's kind of divided on that. I think there's some people who rationally believe that Asa left because his eligibility situation was bungled. But there's also people that want to kind of rag on him personally and say the reason he didn't play is because he sucked. And I don't think that's what it was. I do think he got a late start on understanding exactly how hard it is to play at this level and the amount of effort and intensity required in practice to get better and to gain the trust of your coaches. But I think he caught on, B-Matt. In September or October, I think they saw a change in Asa. And I thought he was going to end up, I think he had gotten himself straightened out, and I think he was starting to gain the trust of coaches. And then, things just kind of got awry. I will be pulling for him at Miami, though, because I am still a believer in Asa Martin. Good kid from North Alabama. Former Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Alabama, Bryan Matthews.
Yep.
I don't know if you know that.
Very important part of that 2018 class.
No doubt. One thing that Gus, I'm sure, did not run Tim Horton for was to get more classy player or more classy coach in here. Because Tim Horton, I'm telling you, is the definition of class. The guy is as thoughtful and professional as you could ever find. As a sports writer, obviously he was very cool to deal with. But you see the other things he does as a person. He's very attuned to high school coaches and their plight, their situation, the struggles that they have, and he's very sympathetic. He's always shouting them out and calling them out in a very positive way on Twitter, and he just cares a lot about that part of it. Gus, everybody's always like, hey, Gus, you were a high school coach, and he's like, I got a lot of respect for them. But, I feel like Tim really lives that more than Gus does and really cares about those guys and does everything he can to kind of praise them and lift them up. So I am sure that high school coaches in the state of Alabama will miss seeing Tim as often as they did, but maybe he'll sneak down here in recruiting and keep those relationships alive. It's going to be a different beast up there at Vanderbilt, though, Bryan Matthews. Well,
he's the type of coach I think they'll do well at Vanderbilt because he's going to evaluate guys good, and he's going to find some quality running backs to bring in there and have a lot of success.
He's been doing that for a while. And I do want to note that he was really high on Kerryon Johnson. And when dumbasses like myself were trying to write off Kerryon as kind of a peripheral piece, he was like, no, I think this guy's a number one, and he's going to be awesome. And Kerryon Johnson ended up being a number one, and he was awesome, and he led the SEC in rushing, and he's in the NFL, and he's a total badass. So I know he wasn't exactly an off-the-radar prospect. He was the player of the year in the state of Alabama, but nobody believed in him more than Tim Horton, and that kid really blossomed there. So got to give Tim Horton credit for that, too. Moving on to basketball, there is a game tonight, Bryan Matthews, inside the Auburn Arena, which has no naming rights as of yet. I think it should be the auburnsports.com Auburn Arena.
We get to work on that.
We are going to get to work on that. Maybe
Yeah.
Allen will take an installment plan, kind of like the Mets and Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah.
We'll backload it. Yeah, we can do that. Auburn is taking on the hated Rebels of Ole Miss, a team that looked like certainly was a lot better than Auburn the first time these teams played back in, January 9th. Ole Miss won that game 82-67. Those of us who follow the team kind of saw that one coming because Ole Miss was super hot and Auburn is kind of iffy on the road. But a lot has changed since that game, Brian Matthews. Ole Miss has lost more than it's won since then, and Auburn plays very well at home. Do you think this is a chance for Auburn to kind of get revenge and get a little bit back on track?
I do. I think it's a great chance and a really big opportunity this next week and a half is for Auburn. Not only do they have Ole Miss at home tonight, they go on the road at Vanderbilt, maybe the best chance for them to pick up a road SEC win for the rest of the season. And then they come back home against Arkansas, a team that they should be favored to win rather handily at home. So this is a chance to go from 5-5 to 8-5 and make a big run toward that final, standing in the SEC and where they're going to be ranked and where they're going to be projected to go into the tournament.
Yeah. The game in Oxford last month was a little surprising insofar as Ole Miss, you think of them, they have the three really good guards up top, and they were good against Auburn, but it was really the post guys that I thought flummoxed the Tigers. That was the game where Austin Wiley got absolutely annihilated by Oladichek, and I was like, oh, man, he really backed down from that physical challenge. At this point, Brian, they're going to be bringing the same guys in, Bruce Stevens, Oladichek, two guys that shoot really well from two. You need to put some shot blockers near those guys to defend them. I don't know how much Austin Wiley's going to be available because the way Bruce Pearl was talking yesterday, B-Matt, it was like, well, we're hoping to get him up to full speed come tournament time. And I'm like, what? Today's the 13th, bro.
Yeah.
February. We got a lot. Is it really going to be that long?
That's a month, right?
Yes.
Close to it. Yeah. So, the SEC tournament starts March 13th. So, that doesn't sound good to me,
no.
JG. And it doesn't look good to me when you go with two veteran centers in Horace and Anthony. You go to a place like LSU and just get done like that, as T. Will would say, by another SEC team. Okay? I understand some guys are going to be bigger or more physical or, have more bolt to them. But you're veteran SEC centers and big men. Okay? You're not 6'4" playing a 6'11" guy. You're both 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". You should be able to body up and make some more plays and rebound better and do some things. So those guys need to step up for Auburn down the stretch.
Yeah, I think you should say that to their face, Brian. Mr. Big Talker.
Well,
A quick look at Ole Miss. One area where they definitely are deficient is three-point defense. They have been awful. They are the worst in the SEC in SEC games at defending the three-point line. Not very good. Their rebounding is kind of hit or miss. They're better offensive rebounders than they are defensive rebounders. Their two-point shooting is incredible, believe it or not, even though they have good guards. Bryan Tyree, is a very good two-point shooter despite being a guard. Oladichek and the other guy, Bruce Stevens, also very good two-point shooters. So Auburn's defense is going to have to be – I think they're going to play a little more zone than they normally do tonight and just try to give them a new look and kind of confuse those inside shooters that get the usual layups and stuff. Auburn's going to kind of pack it down a little bit and see if they can force them to shoot the three. And then Auburn's going to shoot a lot of threes. So it's going to be one of those games. I expect Auburn to shoot at least 25 threes.
Yeah, and they usually shoot threes better at home too. So this is a great opportunity for Auburn to win, get that momentum back, and make that little run. They really need to do this.
Need to get out on Devontae Shuler, though. Guy's shooting 41% from three this year. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I still think Auburn's going to win this basketball game. And I also
7:30 on SEC Network tonight.
Correct. That is correct. Boy, Ole Miss really kind of a fall from grace after they beat Auburn and Mississippi State up there up top. They lost 4 in a row, including 5 out of 6. And their only wins since mid-January are against A&M and Georgia, which at this point are almost freebies. So this is going to be a major test for them. Yes, we'll be there inside the arena. You and I and Mr. Ben Wolk will be there as well, pronounced Wolk. We'll be getting shots, commentary, video from after the game, and, of course, the game wrap, whatever. Big ball game. Got to win this one. All right, we'll move on to shout-outs, Mr. Bryan Matthews. I'm going to let you take first lick on this one because I think you and I were thinking similarly.
I think everybody's thinking about this one still.
Yeah, so go ahead and get your first licks in on this.
Well, I mean, Luke 21, first of all, he started a thread. Wife got some work done today.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, I'd like to give Luke full credit because he followed the rules.
He did.
Now, maybe he followed them a little bit too far, but that young man followed the rules. So credit to Luke 21 for following the dang rules.
He may deserve a title for that one. Just saying, I follow rules.
Yeah, could be. Devoted rule follower. Luke
yes. 21. Would you like to extrapolate on that a little bit?
Well, I mean, one thing I never thought I'd see in my life was a picture of a post-op lady after a boob job. That wasn't something I was expecting to see when I woke up yesterday morning, but it is. And, well, it was an experience. And really my first reaction was also going to Buck's first reaction. Oh, period, my period, God, period. Yeah. So she summed up my initial reaction to that. And then an AAU fan said, I love this place. And that also summed up my reaction because only on the bunker do these things happen. So
only on the bunker.
Shout outs to all those guys. I also want to end out with a special shout out, JG, to our bunker ladies who make that place so special. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. I hope their significant other treat them well and give them plenty of flowers and chocolate or whatever the heck they want.
Mm-hmm.
Take good care of them tomorrow night.
Or money, whatever.
Yeah.
Do want to give a shout out to my sweetie.
Yeah.
Who puts up with all my shenanigans. Yeah. And yours too. I mean, you have a great wife.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Cool lady. Birther of children. 3, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. 2 more than mine. I also have a couple things I wanted to say about the Luke 21 situation. First of all, that young man did follow the rules.
Yes, he did.
There were a few other great comments associated with that situation. Vance Me, who I'm not always on the same side with, but I was yesterday, he said, I always suspected there were some fellow Bunkerites who didn't like titties. Now I know for sure. Some people were upset. Some people were upset about that. Surprised me. Later in the night, AU Haas jumped on and said, any chance for a tits repost for those of us getting in late? Boy, you had to be really late to miss that one, AU Haas, but I'm sure somebody will be able to hook you up. Gordon Blanston's a guy that I know, and I don't agree with him very often, but he was right on the money here. He said if I were his father-in-law or brother-in-law, he'd have a whipped ass. I don't know if I'd be whipping anybody's ass over it, but I'd be pissed. How does a man disrespect the mother of his children like that publicly? You're being a little harsh there, buddy, but
he followed the rules, man. I mean, if his father-in-law and brother are members of the bunker, they'll completely understand.
Yeah. Anyway, GG32. So here's the thing. GG32 is one of our great posters. He decided he's going to make an avatar out of one of these pics, which was kind of funny, but we got to try to, as moderators, we got to de-accentuate that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, out of respect for Luke. And
we don't encourage this stuff at all.
No, we don't. GG32 decided to make that an avatar, and then he started a thread, got a new avatar today. What do you guys think? And it was clever for about 5 minutes until I jumped in there and I changed his avatar from what he had it as to a Roll Tide in script.
Oh, no.
And so now there's a thread that says, got a new avatar today. What do you guys think? And the avatar says Roll Tide, and there's people in there that are like, what? I didn't know you were an Alabama fan. That's kind of like a lamp right there, isn't it? I didn't mean for it to be that way. I also want to give a reminder that, and this has nothing to do with Luke. It's a totally separate issue. But if you post libelous stuff on the internet, particularly our board, about somebody or maybe a company or an organization, you need to be careful with that. I mean, if you're speaking from a point of truth and you know it's provable truth, that's going to help you. But if you're just throwing out libelous accusations against a person or a company, you better be – I'd just think carefully about it before you do it. We did have a member that did something like that playfully in the last few months, and he has faced some serious legal scrutiny over those claims.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could say Voodoo Wings is the best chicken wings in Auburn, and we're right.
Right. That's called puffery. It's something that you say that is not provable, although that is provable because they're the best wings in Auburn. We know that. And Vegas. It's been proven. That's been voted. But puffery is protected. But just be careful, man. If you're going to accuse somebody of a legal entanglement, you better know what you're talking about. So just a reminder. I've posted that on the bunker before. some of you guys maybe don't read as well as others, so now I'm saying it to you in your ears so you can hear what I'm saying. And again, Luke,
I hear you.
hell of a job yesterday, Luke. You went out like a jockey winning the Triple Crown. I also want to give a shout out to our friends at Voodoo Wing Company, Brian Matthews, Jenna, Jan, Michael, Marge, the whole crew out there doing an awesome job, and we thank them for their support of everything we do here at auburnsports.com. Also to our friends at Lynch Toyota of Auburn. If you're looking for a new or used Toyota, you know where to go. You're going to Lynch Toyota of Auburn, just a little bit south of the interstate off College Street, near the new courtyard in the West Pace Auto Mall. You're going to get a great price. You're going to get great service. Those guys know the cars in and out, and they're very willing to hang out there and help you decide what you need and get you a price that fits your budget. Check them out. Lynch Toyota of Auburn. Also to our awesome subscribers, thank you guys. There are literally hundreds, no, there's thousands of you guys. Hundreds that actually post on the bunker a lot. Thousands more who don't post on the bunker but read our stuff and enjoy the bunker for what it is, because it is really, really interesting and funny. Yesterday was really a high point, I think. It was pointy anyway. And we appreciate you guys sticking with us here at auburnsports.com throughout all these years. God bless you guys. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without that. We tell you that every day, and we mean that every day. So thank you very much. If you're not a subscriber, $8.25 a month gets you access to the greatest message board in the history of the internet. That's provable. Plus all the stuff that Brian does, that Ben does, that Jeffrey does, and whatever I'm bringing as well. So thank you very much for listening to our show. For those of you watching the stream, thank you for tuning in. And we will see you guys soon. We'll do a little show to wrap up this basketball game tomorrow morning. Until then, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was like 26 minutes, B-Man.
No,
And you're breaking up now. Thank God you broke up after the show.
I hate on a break, especially Valentine's Day. Although it does a lot of money, if you know.
What'd you say about money?
What?
Did you say something about money?
It's a good idea to break up for Valentine's Day.
Oh. Oh, okay. I still didn't hear you. I'm sorry. That's the only problem.
Oh,
all right, so I guess I'll see you at the basketball game tonight then.
I'll be there.
And don't post pictures of your wife's tits.
I won't.
I won't either. That's my.
I don't have any picture of my wife anywhere, on a purse, on a phone, stuffed in a drawer, anywhere.
All right, that sounds good. That sounds good, Brian. So we're going to wrap it up there. We are now officially getting poor connection. I don't know what the deal is on that. But thank you to those of you who have been watching our stream. You guys are the best. And Brian is now your window's messed up. How about that? Isn't that crazy? I'm going to straighten it out, even though the show's over. Got him. There you go. Now you're back, Brian. Sort of. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening to watching our stream. I wish there was something we could do a little more, be a little more interactive with you guys. We'll figure that out in time. Anyway, guys, be good out there, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Peace.